about what I think.
It was a hot one day on the
Yeah.
football field.
Was it? You started that, haven't you? Oh, yeah.
Got done at 5:30, so I rushed over here.
I know, it'd be different.
Don't get too
Oh, listen, I've never been around sweaty people. I never have ever sweat myself, so.
I don't think this has one yet. So don't build one on it.
Karen gets too long-winded, I'll reach over and switch.
There's a, what do you call it? The floor opens there, drops her into the
Yeah.
basement. Yeah.
Howdy, howdy. Joanne walks in about like I feel like that too. Dragging my hind legs today, man.
Is that Joanne? I am. Can't you see my eyes sparkle?
Yes, they just sparkle so much.
But I don't say anything anyways. Oh, my mercy.
You didn't get it off yet?
Oh, I gotta call it today and then do it. She's only on 35.
Okay, it's 6 o'clock. We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And everyone remember to turn your microphones on, turn your cell phones off. We'll have roll call.
Mayor Schoenberger,
Here.
Councilor Anderson,
Here?
Councilor Baker,
Here.
Councilor Becker,
Here.
Councilor Quinlan.
Here.
And everyone has a copy of the minutes of the regular meeting of August 8th. Are there any corrections? Hearing none, they stand approved as submitted. Visitors and delegations. If you're not on the agenda and wish to speak, now is the time. Moving on to management, public hearing. Subdivision request by Ebenezer Lutheran Care Center. I will open the public hearing and we'll have a presentation by Karen.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I need to recuse myself from this because I'm a director at Ebenezer,
Okay.
and I think Vicky wants to say the same thing.
Yes, I'm an employee of Ebenezer as well, so
Okay.
I need to
All right.
be gone.
You can sit here. Yeah. Just can't speak.
Okay.
Okay, you have in front of you this evening an application from Ebenezer Lutheran Care Center. They're asking for approval of a subdivision plat. They currently have 3 parcels, 2 of which are in the Tabor subdivision, and then the third one is about a 31-acre unplatted parcel. And so the application in front of you this evening is a request to basically rearrange property lines between those 3 parcels. I'm sure most people realize Ebenezer is located at the southwest corner of Hospital Road and Edison Street, and is zoned both residential medium density on the eastern, what did I say it was? Forgot my percentages, I apologize. I think the eastern 60% of the property is zoned residential medium density, and then the balance is zoned industrial. We do expect at some point that they will be back requesting a rezoning change to convert that industrial area to another residential medium density designation. But the focus of tonight's application is just the property lines in the subdivision. So in reviewing that request, they're looking for to maintain the existing 3 lots, just a different configuration. And so the subdivision plat shows you 3 different parcels, the smallest of which is 0.68 acres in size, and that's the parcel where the Tabor building is located. The second lot is about 9.9 acres in size, and that's the balance of the developed campus. And then the remaining parcel is approximately 22.2 acres, and that is undeveloped with the exception of the cemetery. In reviewing this, in terms of where those property lines are going, every attempt was made to ensure that the existing, or ensure that setbacks complied with the existing buildings. There is one property line on the east side of the Tabor building that is not being adjusted or relocated, since it actually bisects a corridor that connects the Tabor building to the church. So that property line is staying in its exact same place. Other property lines, as proposed, were laid out to ensure at least a 15-foot setback from existing buildings, as well as a proposed structure that's going to be constructed shortly to the south of the Tabor building. All of the lots that are proposed exceed the minimum lot size, so there's no issues there. When you look at this application with regard to access and easements, all three of those lots have access to an existing road. In fact, they all three abut one of the existing roads. And this time they're not looking at changing any of the access points in and out of the campus. And in the future, there may be some changes to the site circulation, but those will be reviewed at that time when those changes are proposed. In your packet, there is a sheet that has some highlighting to it and more details with regard to easements and structures. And we do need to talk about that briefly because there are a couple of easement changes that need to be addressed. The first is across the northern side of the property, there's an existing sanitary sewer line that comes to the west side of the Lot 1, or where the Tabor building is. And that portion of that sanitary sewer line is in line continues further to the west and then juts down to the south to serve Arbor's building. That portion of the line west of Lot 1 down to the south where the Arbor's is located is currently not in an easement. The staff is requesting that a sanitary sewer easement be shown on the plat to take care of that particular line. And then the other item to note is on your packet, I tried to highlight in orange, there's an ingress-egress easement comes along the west side of the proposed Lot 1. That was originally put in there to service Lot 2 of the Tabor subdivision. With that lot being reconfigured, that portion of the egress easement that now juts down into the new Lot 2 is no longer necessary. It can stop at that property line there. Last August 11th, Planning Commission heard and reviewed this same application. And at that time, they voted to recommend City Council approve the subdivision plat with 3 conditions. The first is to amend the plat and record the appropriate release of easement with the plat for the portion of the 20-foot ingress-egress easement that is no longer necessary. Condition 2 is to add an easement to the plat for the existing sanitary sewer line that serves the Arbors. And condition 3 was that unless otherwise completed and recorded, the approval of this final plat shall expire 12 months from the date of council approval.
Thank you. Other questions? Would the applicant like to say any presentation?
All right. Well, good evening. I'm Shelley Griffith. I'm CEO at Ebenezer. Just wanted to give you a little bit of a highlight of what we are planning to do at Ebenezer, just to help better understand why we are doing what we're doing. We are working through a significant campus redevelopment and adding some new buildings, adding a new level of care that we currently don't have available in Northeast Colorado. And our ultimate goal is to get to a point where every person who lives on our campus has a private room, private bathing space, and independent temperature control with increased amenity space throughout the campus. As Karen had mentioned earlier, that we probably will be coming back, and we probably will be doing that within the next, say, 1 to 5 years. We do have the land to the west of us, and we are hopeful that we're going to be able to develop that into some independent cottages, small homes, patio homes, something like that, for our community, because housing is such an issue. So, any questions for me? Okay, well, I thank you for your consideration of this redevelopment.
Thank you. Are there any public comments? Any further discussion from the council? Okay. Is there an action to either approve or deny this subdivision request? the three conditions? Okay. A second?
Second.
Motion and a second. And we'll have roll call vote.
Mayor Schomburger,
Yes.
Counselor Anderson,
No.
Counselor Baker,
Yes.
Counselor Becker,
Yes.
Counselor Quinlan.
Abstain.
All right.
Sorry.
Moving on to B, public hearing. Amend Table 6.1, district uses by the City of Brush Land Use Code to allow medical clinics by special use permit. And I will open the public hearing for this, and we'll have another staff presentation.
Staff received a request from an existing landowner that asked us to review and evaluate where medical clinics are permitted within the city of Brush. In looking at the current zoning ordinance and where that use is permitted, staff's conclusion was that several changes to that ordinance would be beneficial to the city. So in front of you this evening is an ordinance that outlines those changes. The first of which would be to establish a definition for medical clinic. The current land use regulations does not contain such a definition. And at the Planning Commission meeting on August 11th, there was quite a discussion related to this, and there was a slight modification to what was originally drafted. So in your memo tonight, you can see there's a section that is highlighted and underlined, and that is the change requested by Planning Commission. So the definition for medical clinic would mean an establishment where members of the medical profession, dentists, chiropractors, osteopaths, physicians, psychologists, state licensed therapists or counselors provide diagnosis and treatment without overnight accommodation. The second change would be to alter the table 6.1, which outlines district uses and in which zoning districts this type of use would be permitted. Within that table, there would be a change to the label. Right now, the table reads medical or dental clinic, and since we have a clearer definition in terms of what a medical clinic means, that label would be modified to read just medical clinic. And then in looking at the various districts where this use is permitted, currently the regulations allow for a medical clinic by special use permit in a number of our residential districts, and then by right in the commercial and commercial core district, and it's not permitted at all in the industrial district. The proposal in front of you this evening is to remove the medical clinic from those residential districts, even with the special use permit, keep it as a use by right in the commercial and commercial core districts, and then within the industrial zone, potentially allow a medical clinic with a special use permit. This proposed change would certainly orient this use more towards the commercial districts and the possibility of industrial zone. And this type of use tends to have more commercial type traffic in and out of it and stuff, and seems to be more appropriate in those districts than the residentially zoned areas. And then the third change is just administrative in nature, and that ensures consistent terminology between code sections. So within Table 5-2, which outlines off-street parking requirements, the label currently reads medical or dental clinic, and that would be modified to the new term of just medical clinic. So it was staff's conclusion that this proposal provides a greater degree of consistency between the commercial type impacts this use typically generates and the intent of the zone districts in which it would be permitted. So at the August 11th Planning and Zoning Commission, the commission voted 4-1 to recommend council approve and adopt the proposed ordinance with the revised definition that would amend the land use code concerning medical clinics.
Thank you.
Questions?
Questions? All right. Are there public comments? Any further council discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. And is there a counselor who would like to introduce the ordinance number 848-16 and read the ordinance by title?
I'd like to introduce ordinance number 848-16, an ordinance adopting an amendment to Chapter 16 of the Brush Municipal Code concerning medical clinics.
All right. And then is there a motion to approve the ordinance for publication on first reading?
I make a motion to approve this ordinance upon first reading.
Second?
Second.
We have a motion and second. Any discussion?
The problem I had with this when it came to planning and zoning was that it opens the door for medical clinics in any industrial area. Because that's essentially what's gonna happen here with this clinic. It's not a typical type of a standalone clinic that you'd think of as a medical clinic either. The folks that wanna do this are going to run it's like a behavioral daycare. It's a psychology treatment center is what it is. It's my understanding. I'm of no vote in the zoning and planning because I felt that really we have zoning, and this was my argument, we have zoning and uses for a purpose. And to put that sort of a clinic, a standalone kind of a clinic, it's not inside of an industrial or vocational type of clinic, it's a standalone clinic. And I felt that other businesses could come in, or industries that would be inappropriate to be in the same use. And that was my feeling.
It doesn't open the door wide, it still is a special use permit.
Once it's been done, we've sort of set a precedent. And the other thing, the other unknown that we have here is it's not a real far stretch to imagine that it could become a marijuana treatment facility.
We don't permit marijuana in the city, so.
Again, it's medical marijuana could be, someone could ask.
No, we exclude medical and recreational marijuana from the city,
I
period.
know we do, Bo, I was part of that. In fact, I led the charge there, but I'm just saying that be careful of what you let in because it could end up being that sort of a treatment facility.
Not
That's
with
all.
the prohibitions that we have in our
I hope
code
not,
now.
and I hope not.
Any
Okay.
further? Okay, and we'll have a roll call vote.
Okay. Counselor Anderson,
No.
Counselor Baker,
Yes.
Counselor Becker,
Yes.
Counselor Quinlan,
Yes.
Mayor Schomburger.
Yes. Moving on to Resolution 2016-4, City and Towns Week.
Okay. We brought this to council last week, or the last work session, for your consideration, and highlighted some of the activities that Tyler and I presented. So if you approve, we would like to enter a resolution or adopt a resolution and then work with council. If you could come in and talk to either Tyler and I as far as what extent you would like to work with the school district. They're open to anything council would like to do, so we can do that off the record, but in any event, we're asking for your approval.
Is there a motion to approve Resolution 2016-4, Cities and Towns?
I move that we adopt a resolution number 2016-4, Cities and Towns Week.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? And roll call vote.
Counselor Baker?
Yes.
Counselor Becker?
Yes.
Counselor Quinlan?
Yes.
Mayor Schomburger?
Yes.
Counselor Anderson?
Yes?
Do I need to read this or not? Okay. Moving on to number D, 2017 and 18 City Council priorities.
Okay, last week the City Council did have a special meeting to discuss the City Council priorities for the next upcoming 2 years. And as a standard, we bring this back to the City Council to formally adopt so that we have those in the record. And these priorities are what will start the process for our various departments start putting their budgets together, just knowing the direction of what things that will most likely be funded through their request. So each council member has received a copy of the updated city council priority sheet, and we're needing approval of that to move forward with our budget process.
Do I have a motion to approve the,
I move that we approve the city council priorities for 2017-2018 as stated.
Second.
motion and a second? Any discussion? And again, a vote.
Counselor Becker,
Yes.
Counselor Quinlan,
Yes.
Mayor Schomburger,
Yes.
Counselor Anderson,
Yes.
Counselor Baker.
Finance.
I make a motion we approve disbursements and payroll from August 8th through the 22nd of 2016 totaling $353,492.83.
Second.
Second.
Discussion. Another roll call vote.
Okay, Counselor Quinlan.
Yes.
Mayor Schomburger,
Yes.
Counselor Anderson,
Yes.
Counselor Baker,
Yes.
Counselor Becker.
Yes.
Staff reports. Finance. Joanne.
I have nothing this evening.
Thank you. That was quick. Moving down to police. Travis.
Couple things. We have an officer who's gonna be working with the Sarah House. We'll call it a task force. They're gonna be going around the schools, all the schools, Fort Morgan, Brush, all the area schools, teaching basically internet safety, sexting, that type of thing. And they put on a pretty good presentation, or developed a pretty good presentation. We've identified 48 homes with dead trees. We're addressing those. The biggest aspect we're running into is tree trimmers are all booked up, so we're trying to address that. And just to make you aware, they had a vehicle pursuit the other night. They did catch the guy. We spiked him. Unfortunately, he tried to run over 2 of our officers, but luckily they was able to get out of the way. So I think they're safe, but all is good in that aspect.
Right. Thank you. That's too much excitement.
Yeah,
City clerk.
my stuff is boring compared to that.
No chases.
Yeah, to add to our schedule, just a reminder that tomorrow night at 6 p.m. the Morgan County Commissioners are hosting a city-county meeting, and we have some that have RSVP. If you'd like to go and you weren't on the list, let me know. August 24th, we received in the paper, I copied a school district open house to discuss their bond issue or their ballot issue, and it will be at the Brush High School. The 26th at 7 a.m. is economic development at Hillrose. And then moving down to October, we have an invitation for the CML Fall District meeting in Ray. So if you would contact me if you'd like to go to that. And also October 22nd, Eastern County Hospital Foundation Fall Affair. And that's it.
Thank you. Be sure to get with her. Community development. Karen.
I don't have anything to add this evening.
It's a trend. Okay. Administrator. Monty.
A couple items. One of the projects that we have in our priorities budget, or our priorities list for the upcoming 2 years is the recreation master plan. And just want to let council know that in the next few weeks, Lance Schwint's going to be presenting a letter for the mayor to sign, just in support of the project and our financial commitment to the project. And he intends to apply for GOCO funds in their planning cycle, which is November 1st, I believe is the date that he has to get that in by. So that's going to be the first step, because we're going to try and get GOCO to pay for the lion's share of it through their planning funds, and then the city just make up that small contribution to for the required match for it. So you should see that here pretty soon. Also, another one of our priorities is the master planning of the Old English feedlot, and that's kicking off tomorrow with a consultant from the Office of Economic Development and International Trade. We're going to be having a conference call tomorrow morning to start that process, and which we feel is going to take a number of months to get that done. So we'll start that, and hopefully we'll have that completed early of 2017. And then all the rest of my items are in the work session.
Thank you. Does council have anything? Hearing nothing, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second, moved and seconded, we're adjourned.
Right.
Work session right away.
Snacks. Give me a minute for snacks.